Open world games kinda suck. Can I say that, YouTube? Can I say something sucks without getting my ads taken away? Huh? Is that PG enough for you? Huh? Anyway, now open world games are nothing new. They've technically existed since the NES with the original Legend of Zelda, but I feel like the term open world and open world games really became popular in the early 2010s with games like Skyrim. And that's kind of where this problem starts, okay? Because games like Skyrim were incredibly successful, and a main big part of their marketing was this big push of how big their open world was. And they had this giant world you could explore, and you could go to the mountain, even though you couldn't go to the mountain. That was a fucking lie, Todd, you piece of shit. I'm gonna get demonetized again. But because of that, other companies started thinking, oh, if we want to make money, we should also get an open world. So they started taking games that did not need an open world at all and just shoved an open world in there. And that's how you get the worst games ever made. Okay, that might be a bit hyperbolic, but take, for example, a recent game, Ghostwire Tokyo. This could have been a really cool game had it been a linear, action horror game, but instead the developers decided that they were gonna put the game in a Ubisoft-style empty open world, and the game is worse off for it. It's actually pretty bad, simply just because of the open world. Now, this is an example of a game that feels like it wasn't designed to be in an open world and it just got thrown into one anyway because money. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is your game should benefit from having an open world. It shouldn't have one just because it's the profitable, popular thing to do. And this is the problem with, for example, I already mentioned a lot of Ubisoft games like Assassin's Creed and Far Cry, which originally greatly benefited from having an open world, but slowly their open worlds kind of just became really big, really empty, and it has this appearance of lots of content, like I already said, with a lot of markers and waypoints and whatever the fuck in it, but they're not actually content. There's nothing to do on the waypoints. They're just fetch quests, or like a bear in a cave or something. And this issue also, by the way, extends to games like Grand Theft Auto 5, which, yes, Grand Theft Auto 5 works really well in an open world, and it has a pretty good open world. The problem is it's way too big. If you look at the map, almost all the content is down here, and the rest of the map there's some content. I'm not saying it's completely devoid of content, but it's mostly empty. And it just doesn't need to be like this. If you look at games like Majora's Mask and the World of Termina, it's an open world game. But the map is as big as it needs to be, and content is spread evenly over the entire map. The map has distinct, interesting areas with their own characters and side quests and whatever, right? Yeah, the map isn't incredibly large, probably because of technical limitations. The game was made in the 90s, but it is as big as it needs to be. And I think a lot of newer games can learn something from older open world games like Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. For example, not only with the fact that the world size and spreading good content evenly across the map, not only that kind of thing, but also the fact that Majora's Mask has very distinct locations with very memorable characters and quests in every single one. You got Clock Town, you got Ikana Valley, you got Romani Ranch, you got, the swamp, etc, etc, etc. And you can ask anybody who's played the game, they'll remember exactly which characters are where and what quests are in, what parts of the world, because it's just that memorable. With most modern gaming open worlds, most of the world looks the exact same, with the exact same quests everywhere. The exact same type of quest, there's nothing really different about them. Same goes, for example, even with a game like Skyrim, right? Skyrim isn't a bad game, but the world itself looks kind of samey everywhere, and most quests in Skyrim are just go here, kill a bunch of skeletons, do a shitty puzzle, get the MacGuffin, and then go back to the person who gave you the quest and repeat. Not saying that there aren't any other quests in Skyrim, I'm just saying that the vast majority of side quests are like that. And I'm not trying to say there are no good modern day open world games. I do believe that most of them are bad. Most of them take that Ubisoft approach to things. And there's also a lot of them, like GTA 5, that just have a way too big open world that you know, is mostly good, but also very much so in places devoid of content and doesn't need to be as big as it is. I mean, especially recently, actually good open world games have been coming out more frequently, which is just insane, right? That it's possible to make an open world game and not have it be boring. For example, Hogwarts Legacy came out recently. Yeah, it's not the biggest open world, it's just Hogwarts and the area around it, but it's very much so full of content. You know, interesting quests, characters, secrets to find. And then you also got games like Elden Ring, obviously, which has a map bigger than any other game I've mentioned in this video so far. It's truly a gigantic map, and they somehow still manage to spread the content and the secrets and the interesting quests out over the map equally, to the point that it never feels like there's nothing to do in the game, or the game feels like it's getting boring. The locations in that game are also just phenomenal with the creativity. Anyway, it can be done. Unfortunately, you know, it feels like especially a lot of Western developers are either forced or want to make games in like that Ubisoft style, because they think that that's what's popular and successful and what people like. But then when a game like Elden Ring comes out, those same Western developers get really upset about it. I'm not sure if you remember, but when Elden Ring came out, a lot of Western developers started shitting on the game. And I genuinely believe it's just out of envy that a game with so much creativity and so, you know, different from the way that Western developers make open worlds could be far more successful and far more popular than anything that Ubisoft or, you know, the Sony studios have made recently. You know, it kind of just pissed them off, and understandably so. Also, I already ranted about this, but I just kind of want to emphasize a little bit more. The waypoints are so stupid. In games like, again, like Far Cry, for example, and Assassin's Creed, all you're doing is you're walking in a straight line across the world from waypoint to waypoint. And then there are games like Breath of the Wild and Elden Ring that kind of show that you don't need the waypoints. You just need this open world and just let the player explore it. Just give them the basic outlines of how the world works and how you traverse the world, right? And that's enough for them to, you know, find their way around the world. And it's far more fun. Like in Breath of the Wild, to just walk around and, you know, climb mountains, and you see something interesting in the distance, so you just go there. It's far more interesting to do that, as opposed to, oh, on the map it says that this item or this quest is over there, so I'll just set my waypoint over there and I'll walk there in a straight line and then I do the quest. That's not fun, that's boring. Don't do that. Remember when games like Morrowind had you go places based upon you know, the description of where it was? It's like, oh, it's a town, it's in the northeast or whatever the fuck, and then you just had to go there based upon the directions the map gave you, or based upon just following like the signs and shit. That was far more interesting than just walking in a straight line to a waypoint. Hello, I'm editing this now, and I kind of just quickly want to say, before people in the comments tell me, I know that Elden Ring and Breath of the Wild have some sort of waypoint system, but it's not like there's markers literally everywhere and like this constant reminder of like, hey, the waypoint's over there. Anyway, let's get back to the video. I mean, I get why there are waypoints in games, it's so that people don't get lost. I feel like with games like Morrowind, people probably got lost a lot maybe, but I do prefer the way Morrowind handles, you know, telling you where the quest is as opposed to just showing you where it is exactly on the map. Anyway, boys, I feel like I kind of got all this rage out of me. Nah, I'm just kidding, but I do feel like I talked about everything I wanted to talk about in this video, so I'm just gonna wrap it up here. You know, if you like this video, I'm probably gonna do more videos like this. But yeah, if you liked it, please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.